Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be showcasing a tutorial for a Armadillo Scute farm, as 1.20.5 is close to releasing, and the Armadillo Scutes can be used for two things. First of all, to craft up wolf armor. Second of all, to repair wolf armor. And wolf armor is pretty good because it acts as a shield for the wolf. While your wolf is wearing armor, it cannot take damage. Any damage it takes for most damage sources will go into the armor instead. So these farms are quite simple. And you can see just how simple they are. This one is using no redstone, and then we do have some that uses redstone and get a little bit more complicated. So let's explain how they work and also what materials you'll need and how to build them. Now this one I don't really have to show you how to build because you can see it is literally just some glass blocks with a hopper, carpet and a barrel. How this one works is Armadillos works a little bit like chickens is the best way to explain it. They will randomly drop their scutes. The timer is I think the same as chickens, if not a little bit off, but they'll drop scutes randomly. So if I empty this chest and we come back to this later on, you'll see that this chest has filled up. But this is not the fastest way because they drop one scute every 5-ish minutes, and the more armadillos you have in there the better. You can have up to 24 in the middle of the game without entity cramming taking place, and you can also breed armadillos with spider eyes. So if you get them in there, you can then breed them up until there is then the maximum. So resource wise for this one, this is all you need: 8 pieces of glass, a barrel. The carpet is optional. The only reason I have the carpet there is so they don't fall into the hopper and you can see them better, but the carpet isn't really needed. And the barrel can be any storage container. It can be a chest, it can be a shulker, and the glass can be any block. It don't have to be glass. I've just put glass so we can see the armadillos inside. Now this next one is one that makes use of redstone, because inside of the game you can brush armadillos to also get scutes from them. So if I empty this chest and I grab myself a brush and I throw the brush inside of this dispenser, you'll see the brush gets used and the scutes will then go inside of this chest, and the dispenser will only tick if there is an item within here. So this one is a little bit faster in scute wise as long as you can provide it with brushes. Now this is the resources you need for this one. It's the same as the other one, but you then need 7 blocks. This can be any block. You then need a dispenser, 4 redstone, a repeater and a comparator. And how you build this one, you build it exactly the same as this one, but you replace one of the glass blocks at the back with a dispenser, and then you want a comparator reading out of that with a repeater, then a solid block. There doesn't need to be a block under that, and then some redstone on top of these blocks going into the comparator, and then a block on top which will power the dispenser. And if we just grab ourselves some brushes to show you how the redstone part of this works, it basically just creates a clock. So if there is an item in here, then it will pulse that dispenser until it is empty. Now this one is the exact same as this one right here, but instead of the items going into scute form, we are turning them into wolf armor. Now this works thanks to underneath we have 2 observers, and then the observers are obviously always pulsing because there's no other thing you can craft with Armadillo Scutes, so there's no need to read when this is like a full signal or not. Now you don't need to make this always pulsing if you don't want to, although the crafter is quite quiet, so it doesn't make a racket like the dispensers do. So having it like this doesn't really affect anything. And then once there is enough scutes inside of here, it will then craft up some wolf armor, which let's try this again. Let's throw some brushes in. Let's just grab a few of them, and then let's just shift click them all in. You'll see once it is full, the wolf armor will be crafted and spat onto the floor, which you can then just resolve that by putting a barrel or a chest right there. The wolf armor will then be crafted up and put straight into this chest. So this is a way to craft up just instant wolf armor. You can also revert this like that if you do want to. For this to work, you do need to make sure you lock these slots, otherwise it won't work. It needs to have this exact shape for the wolf armor to craft. Once again, the shape can be either way round like that. As for building it, it is the exact same as this one, but instead of a barrel at the front, you just want a crafter facing into some kind of storage, and then you want the observers facing into one another. So you want this top one facing down, and then you want the bottom one facing up. The reason I designed this system is because I was planning to have it then dispense onto a wolf, But sadly, that's not the case. You can't have that happen. If I was to put some of them in there, and then I was to tame a wolf, let's quickly just do that. So let's throw a wolf there. Let's tame you. And then I was to power this. You can see it just gets dispensed on the floor. So this is the reason I had this, because then I was going to create like an automatic wolf armory where you could just put your wolf in a spot. It would then equip them with armor. So then you can take them on a journey with you instantly without having to do anything yourselves. But yeah, this doesn't work, and the reason for it is the wolf armor has to be equipped by the wolf's owner. Now, this final version is a little bit more complicated, and that is because it makes use of the crafter to automatically craft up brushes. Now, I filled these up in creative mode, but you can link these up to some kind of farm. You can link the feather one up to a chicken farm, you can link the copper one up to some kind of copper farm, and you can link the stick one up to some kind of bamboo or tree farm. And how this one works is it basically just automatically crafts brushes. Now, I've got it on manual, so when I click this button, you can see the items are inputted into the dropper or the crafter. And then it is dispensed. I've broken that just so it didn't make a noise. Every time this button is clicked, it will craft up one brush, dispensing it straight into this hopper. And then it uses it and crafts up some Armadillo Scutes. That was from testing. That is definitely not because it broke. Now, all of these will produce Armadillo Scutes over time because they will all drop Scutes. So this one will produce the same as this one without any brushes. But if you have brushes, then every brush will be able to produce 4 Armadillo Scutes. So adding brushes does make it a little bit quicker. It all depends on how many you want and how much you're willing to AFK. But this one right here, if you have a farm for feathers, copper and sticks, then you can just input them into the system. And the way this works is it uses the same resources as the others, but you need an extra crafter, 3 hoppers, and 3 droppers. And then this button can be replaced with some kind of redstone system. So if I maybe craft up a clock, which I can do pretty easily, let's maybe do something like this, and grab redstone dust. And then I was to just make a clock. So now if I was to power this button and break it again, you can see that this now crafts up a brush. And it's pretty accurate in timing because as it crafts up, it's not long before they get inputted again. And now we are getting a lot of scutes. But obviously this only works if you have a decent supply of each of them. If you ever run out, so if we was to run out of feathers, this system does then break. But you can easily fix it just by stopping this clock and then inputting the correct resources into the droppers and just emptying the crafter. And you can see the brushes are going in. They are running perfectly, I think. As one runs out, another one does get inputted, so it's pretty good timing as well that way. So as for building this part, it's pretty simple. You need to have the crafter facing in to a hopper going in to the dispenser. Now it don't need to be here. The reason I've built it here is because there's redstone on this side. You could build it on top if you really wanted to. And then from the crafter, you need to have 3 hoppers coming out the back, facing into one another, and then facing into the crafter. And then these droppers need to be facing in to all 3 hoppers. The reason they're on the side is because if they were on the top, then they would be emptied. If I was to, for example, place redstone in there, you can see it goes straight down into the hopper, which we don't want. You can have them below if you want to save room. So, for example, you can have it right there. That will save some room when it's right there. The only problem is it will power when this block is activated due to that being there. That's why I didn't place them below. But if you wanted to rework this system, then you definitely can. And this timer right here could be made a lot smaller as well. I've just thrown it there as an example, as powering these can be done pretty much in any way, as long as you power all 3 of them at the exact same time. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, do leave a like and subscribe, as it does really help out. And this is some easy and quick armadillo farms. This one right here, you could build within the first few days of your world, as long as you can find or breed up enough armadillos. This one will take you a little bit longer because it does require a comparator, which you do need to go to the nether for. The other resources are pretty cheap. But anyway, if you enjoyed, do leave a like and subscribe. And one thing I do love doing is running down here, because as you run, they all curl up in a ball. If I quickly just show you as you run down, they all jump in a ball as you go. It could create for a good player detector. But anyway, if you enjoyed, do leave a like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.